everybody. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but right when I was getting ready to start the whole thing, I like, what's wrong with the computer? Nothing responds. And then I realized that Mr. Finnegan is back to his charming self. So he played around the computer and pulled out some stuff. So of course my mouse was acting weird because it was only barely making any contact. So yeah, it's peachy now. Anyway, so I thought of starting to do something about winter, and please excuse myself, I'm not all makeup-y and all that, because I'm trying real hard to catch up on stuff, and also I'm trying real hard to not feel overwhelmed by things. Because remember, with me it's like I'm barely starting to catch up and stuff happens. So in the last month it was ice storm, then Finnegan almost dying, then I got that big ugly sty. So let me say hello to everybody. Hi Judy, hi Beth, hi Jessica, hi Elaine, hi Christine, hi Colleen, hi Donna and Marilyn. So first of all, your best bet, and by the way, Trish at PolyClay finally got some white, because you know it was kind of like a shortage all over the place, and it's not that plasticky, soft, elasticy crap like it used to be. Hi Carol. So the first thing when you do these little animal like type of earrings is that you want to put them, of course you can make them the way that we did the little witches for Halloween, but it's a good thing for penguins at least to directly put them on something that is already with a little loop inside. Thank you, Marilyn. So the idea is that for the ones of you who are beginners, you cannot really put just a plain straight wire in polymer clay to hold it, because once the clay is baked, it's also a matter of shrinkage, but it's going to just come out. You have to either glue it, or more simple, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make me several, so we can make several kinds of these. And it's you have to choose whatever ear wire you have to be, you know, in the same color as the wire that you're using to hold your little penguins or whatever else you want to do. Then your next thing is to make a little loop. Yes, you're gonna make a loop afterwards at the top of the figurine, but you want to loop your wire that's going to be in the clay, because that way after you bake the clay it's not going to come out of it. So that's all you need to do. So simply get a round nose pliers, and the size of it is all depending on how big you intend to make your little figurine earrings. So yeah, we are hoping this coming week for the city to start coming and removing the broken branches. Oh yeah, and also this morning I wasted a couple hours because I had eye migraines. I don't know if you ever heard of that. You might be suffering of those eye migraines. Are not accompanied by headaches. You just see a type of aura. And in my case, it's like a zigzag, like if you were to look in the, those old incandescent light bulbs, imagine that you have 2 or 3 of those in your visual field. I cannot really do anything when that happens. I have to just sit there, listen to music or something, because I cannot see much. It's pretty much like a lightning strike. Alright, so now I got all these. The first thing is you'll need, practically for this, you'll need black clay, white clay, and some kind of red or coral. So your first thing is decide what kind of, because we're gonna make 2 kinds. We're gonna make just a head-like penguin, and then we're gonna make a more classic full body penguin. So in order to not make them super big, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger than I normally make them, so that you can see what I'm doing without a problem. But what I suggest you, the tinier they are, the cuter they are. So what I would suggest is to measure the bead with the smallest cutter. Where's my tab? With the smaller cutter in, for example, in your circle cutters. But for the purposes of this specific tutorial, because if I would make them that tiny, I would always have to make sure I'm zooming and I'm in the camera field and all that. So I'm going to make the beads with 2 of these, and if you're beginner and you didn't know, this is the way you can make sure that when you're making beads, that all your beads will be the same size. So for the first one, I'm going to make the beads, each bead for each earring, out of 2 cutouts. So once I did this, what I do is to simply make it round. But as I said, if you're able to see and if you're able to work with that, your best bet is to make them even tinier. Okay? And with these ones, there's another way that you can do it. You can make them simply just like beads with a hole through the middle. And then I think several months ago or before, I showed you there are these little molds, and I think they're on Trish's. I know I have them in the Amazon influencer store, but let me see, I think that I got those on Trish's website. Give me just a second to verify. Yeah, it's a mini snowflake mold, and let me see, that's the only one she's got. Yeah, she's got some no, she's got also the Let It Snow of best flexible molds, but the one that I've been using for resin is the mini snowflake mold. Let me give you the link to it. And as I said, you'll find one in my influencer store as well. And this would be perfect to make a hanging resin bead. And there we go. And the way that I showed you with the thing is that you can use the UV resin, only that put a little bit of interference blue mica powder, not a lot, just a little bit, because you want the UV resin to still be transparent enough, because remember, that's your problem whenever you use UV resin and you want to color it or to put inclusions in it. You need to make sure that the color, the pigment, or the inclusion are transparent, they are not opaque, because UV resin cures under UV light, and if the UV light cannot go through stuff, then it's not going to cure the resin. Hi Sonia, hi Tina. Okay, so I have two little beads, right? And these ones, again, you can treat them just as beads, and I'm not gonna go about that because it's quite easy to understand. You don't put anything through them, and only after they are done you poke a hole. But the way that I get the one with see, it's right here. If you're deciding to put a snowflake resin bead, you're just going to connect it here. But if you just want to make just these, then gently, gently, gently pull forward. And don't worry, because this will be covered by the penguin's feet. And nicely reconstitute your bead. And do the same with the second bead. And gently hold here so it wouldn't come towards you too much. Hold here and gently pull. That way you won't flatten too much. Hi Yaskara. Okay, so now we have two black beads. Okay, the next thing, and you can make them in different ways though, and I'm gonna show you separately how you can make the different things. But the first thing that you need to do is to give them the little white tummy, and for that get some white and get it on a thin setting, like an 8 on the makings. So once you got that, your best bet is to use some of the itty bitty cutters, or you can use the Kemper. It all depends on the size of your bead. If my bead would have been normally made just out of one cutout, I would have used these, but on these bigger beads I'm going to actually use the Kempers. Because on the Kemper I have a bigger round. And yes, I use the little boxes for Pardo very, very well. Okay, let me get it a little bit darker. Yeah, white on white doesn't always show. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to grab the round and I'm going to cut 2 rounds. And then I'm going to gently place them, and you place them about like this, with the bottom right on the bottom of your bead. And do the same on the other one. And don't worry about it not being perfectly flat. If you're doing them as just beads, then you can roll it again and it's going to flatten the white in the black. Now the next thing is to give it, and you can use for the beak and for the feet, you can use either an orangish or yellow clay. And let's make this one with yellow. And you don't need a lot. Okay, first of all, I'm going to get 2 crumbs. And around, and then gently teardrop it. Not a lot, just a little bit. So round, and on the side teardrop it. Then grab this is not the proper size, give me a second. Grab a ball stylus and see how dividing pretty much in 3 and make a little dip with the ball stylus about 1/3, a little bit above what would be half of this circle. And then end it with the pinch like this, with the horizontal pinch, but place the, like you have a little teardropish a little bead, hold by the wedged part, then place this in here and then press a little bit, and then your last pinch should be horizontal so that you'd have a formed beak. Now the next thing is to give them some eyes, and for this we are going to need some itty bitty blacks. This one is not itty bitty enough, but I can cut it. Okay, where's my... there it is. So you want these to be tiny, you don't want them to be big. And place them not above, but to make the kawaii face. Remember I was telling you that the kawaii face has the eyes and the nose and or the mouth at about the same height. And then simply flatten them in. Let's do the second. penguin eyes. And the same thing. Hey, I'm sorry, I talk to the clay all the time. Stay there. Now, if you want to add a little bit of blush on them, you can grab some red or even some coral or some pink and make them two little blush points right under the eyes. So I'm making a bead and I'm going to cut it in 4. If you need me to zoom in so you can see better, let me know. So 1 bead in 4. And tiny, tiny, tiny beads. Tiny, 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 tiny. And then you're going to place them under the eye but towards the corner, outer corner of the eye. So pretty much about here. And flatten it. Then again with the yellow, I'm going to make 1 bead and cut it in 4. But again, the size should be smaller than this if you're making smaller earrings. Okay, so this is my bead, cut in half, then each half cut in half. And again, form the bead, then we are going to wedge each bead. Okay, let me zoom in. Alrighty, so I have 4 little yellow beads and I'm going to gently wedge each of them just simply by going like this at the end. Not completely teardropish, but not far from that. Just wedged some. And then I'm going to flatten them. You too, Carol, have a great Sunday. So I'm going to flatten them. and then simply place them here, covering this wire. And what they still need is their little flappers. And the same thing, I'm going to, hold on, let me get, so get on pretty much like a 3 setting, then use the round cutter, and again cut each of them, cut in 4, and the same thing, bead, bead. Your main thing is to make sure that you don't have any folding lines. But this kind of stuff will be really cute, not just for adult ladies, but I'm sure that the kids will absolutely love them. And again, and this time you actually teardrop it. You don't just wedge it, you teardrop it. So the whole difference between wedging and teardropping is how long you're going to roll it. Because if you just roll it a little bit, it's wedged. If you roll it longer, it's going to teardrop. And once again we flatten, and you see I'm using just my blade. And yeah, I got the question why I made the Sunday tutorials so beginner level. Well, because they are mostly addressed to be beginner level, and I have to make sure that I can cram the whole thing within an hour, because if you've been longer on my channel, you know I cannot really sit on a chair for much longer than an hour. Okay, and then simply place your little flapper on each side. Don't leave it on the bottom. Oops. On the bottom, leave it a little bit away. So place. You can make them smaller if you want. The little flappers. It's entirely up to you how you want to. But there we go. I got little penguins. Okay, now let's make the, let me get the zoom a little bit out of this because it's not perfectly focused. Okay. Now let's do the other way. That will be a little bit more adult ones, right? These ones you can make, I'll get this back, and let me grab my let me grab the heart. Okay, so the same way, first I'm going to get my black, and then your best bet is going to be the next one, the next cutter, next larger one. So you're gonna need 2 small ones and 2 large ones. And beads out of both of them, both sizes. So always make sure, check that you don't have any kind of folding line from when you fold the clay to make the beads. But again, I advise you to make them smaller, and even the flappers and everything. Remember, when I make this kind of stuff, I make it bigger than larger than I normally would, so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Because on very, very minuscule things, it's very hard to zoom in and stay in the camera. Hi, Gail. Did you have fun? Yeah, and yes, I will bring Finnegan so you can see him. He's he's back to his charming self. My problem is still he's not eating wet food properly. He's very hard to convince. This is what got him in trouble, his obsession for seafood flavored pate. So to get him to eat anything that's not seafood flavor or not pate textured, it's really, really a very daunting task. And for the ones of you who had cats in their lives, you know that with a dog you can say, oh, just don't feed him anything and he's going to eat when he's starving. Cats will starve themselves and not eat what they don't like. That's the cat thing. Okay, and I have again the white on an 8 thickness. So I'm going to do the same thing, and remember, you don't have to put the thing inside. You can just treat them as beads and then hang another thing on them. Okay, this is not good. There we go. Only that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the smaller bead here. And the same for the other one. No, you cannot out-stubborn a cat. If they don't want to, they don't want to. That's... So I tried 11 different canned cat foods. Okay, this one's got a folding line. I mean, he got used and he's eating the... He didn't want to eat the Hill's diet. And I think I said that before. In my opinion, Hill's diet is one of the crappiest foods on the market. And also it's super inflated in price, and it's just the fact that the vets get commission on how much they sell. But he refused to eat dry Hill's diet. And thank you, Diane. And he refused to eat Royal Canin. I was lucky that they had little samples, so I didn't have to buy a full bag. Royal Canin is another expensive crappity food. So it will look, initially it will start looking like a snowman. And then what you're going to need for this kind, and if you don't have the heart, it's fine, you can just use the round, but the heart gives them a little bit more character. Alright, so I'm going to use two different sizes because I have two different size beads. I have two different size beads, so I'm going to use two different sizes. But yeah, he accepted, in the end he accepted. There's a brand that's not very known on the market, but it's a very, very healthy brand. I mean, I looked at all their products and it's really good quality. It's called Wysong. That's WYSONG, and they have a uretic formula for cats, and they have it both in dry and in wet. Now the other problem with Finnegan is that he cannot stand chicken, and all the canned foods for cats that have low phosphorus, because that's the thing that causes the struvite crystals he has, they are all chicken. But anyway, Wysong also makes a food supplement, food additive, that's a powder that's a little bit fish flavored, because what happens, cats can have crystals in and even stones in their urine. When they are young, they do struvite crystals, and those are mostly from phosphorus. Okay, here we go. I'm going to place one little heart here and a larger heart on the body. And those they get when their diet is too alkaline, and the cat's diet gets too alkaline when it gets too many carbs. And you know how they use fillers in cat food, and the worst fillers are corn, like in Hill's diet, but they can also use rice and potatoes and other stuff. And when a cat's diet doesn't get enough, they need to be very high in protein and low on carbs, their urine becomes alkaline, and from the phosphorus and magnesium in the food, they will make struvite crystals. And they can also, as they get older, they can get the backwards thing, and they do calcium oxalate. But anyway, so Finnegan has struvite crystals, and obviously, liking fish, of course, there was a lot of phosphorus. But anyway, Song makes the bio pH, and they have it with plus and with minus for both conditions. So I ordered some of that, and then I'm telling you, I think 3 days I poured all over the internet to try and get, figure out. I found lists made by veterinarians who lost their cats due to stuff like what Finnegan has gone through. And because there's this information, you don't find it on the label. They never put on the label how much phosphorus, how much magnesium, how much. They only put the protein, fat, ashes, and stuff like that. But anyway, I found several lists of pretty much all the canned food on the market. And then I figured out that Taste of the Wild, a Canyon River, because there's another, the main supplement that makes these struvite crystals dissolve, because that's why you need to, that's what the diet food is, on higher protein, not so much carbs, and it has a little bit of salt to make them thirstier than normal and drink more water than normal, because that's the whole idea. The more water they drink, the less concentrated their urine is, and the crystals dissolve. But also Taste of the Wild has this supplement, this D-L-methionine. So I finally managed to make him eat. The problem is not a pate, it's a gravy thing, but if I mash it and I add a little bit more water to the gravy and I add some of that supplement and I add a little bit of fish oil, he eats. Not all of it, but he eats. So the good part is that he does drink water. If you followed him on Facebook, you know that he worships his little water fountain. Alright, so we're gonna make the feet pretty much the same way, because it's the easier way. And by the way, you can make it if you have the, because I already showed you how to make the feet that way. Let's make them with the cutter, because it's easier. And I'm going to use the heart again, and like for the white, I'm going to go with the orange through the machine on thin, and we are going to cut the feet. Get out. What the heck? And then place them. Okay, I need to get some Armor All on my fingers because I'm starting to get sticky. Just a second. So yeah, if your fingers get sticky, you can use some Armor All. If you use just alcohol, it's going to dry your fingers and make them even stickier. So there you go, we have the feet. And then the same, let me make the beaks the same way. beaks go exactly like for the other ones, only we are not going to put the blush. I mean, you can put the blush if you want, but you don't have to. And again, make a little dot here. Press the beak down, and remember the last pinch has to be horizontal, so you shape the beak. And there we go. Got another little beak, and now a little eyes, and I'm going to take some cutting here to make them all the same. Just going to you don't want them to be, the eyes to be too big. Just make little beads. Yeah, Meti gel, I got it. You can find it on Amazon. The problem is that Meti gel is created for both dogs and cats. I am sure that dogs love it because it's got sugar in it. And it's very, very sticky. It's too sticky. Cats don't like sticky stuff. And I even tried to do my trick, you know, with just spreading it on his paw. The problem is that it's so thick and sticky, and with Finnegan's long hair, when he shook his paw like this a couple times, and it reconstituted itself into a blob, and then the next paw shake it just flew on the wall. So yeah, as I said, I am sure that dogs love it, but cats, no. I still have it, the Meti gel, because I use there's a gel that's really good to stop them from getting hairballs, and that's what I use for them. So as I said, I put it on their paw and it works wonders. I don't have to worry, but it's not sticky. I don't know, the only thing that I can compare it to, imagine overboiled molasses. That's pretty much how it feels. Okay, so we got these ones. And then once again, if you have this, I showed you how to do the regular ones with little teardroppy stuff, but if you have the heart thing, heart camper, what the heck is wrong with you? My UV lamp keeps turning on. Okay, so you cut again, you cut 4. And then simply place them here and lift the end a little bit. place it on this side and then lift the bottom, the point of the heart, so to speak. Practically get only the top of the heart stuck to the bead. Yeah, Finnegan just goes and hugs his water fountain and sits there and what with his chin in it, and he gets all wet on his chin and chest, but he just sits there and watches the water flowing. Like it's fascinating him. All right, so there we go. 2 ways of making cute penguin earrings that are not very complicated. And now we're gonna have to hope that nothing else happens this weekend. I can catch up because I have a ton of stuff to do. If I don't manage to do the tutorial with the poinsettias, then we'll do it next Sunday, but I hope to be able to catch up and start on those, because my IT guy, he was supposed to come last weekend, but he couldn't because Finnegan, and then he came Friday and replaced. Don't you hear there's no more tick 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 tick, because I got the power supply replaced, so now I can do the soundtrack for videos, because I couldn't, it was too loud for me to record anything. Oh, before I go, let me go get you Finnegan.
Yes, they do. He was sleeping. He was sleeping. Let's get the camera to see you. There we go. Here's little Finnegan. He was sleeping. Oh dear.
Let's go a little farther because he's too close and you cannot see him properly. Oh, I'm in zoom mode, I forgot, that's why. Hold on, let Mama change the zoom.
Let's change the zoom. Yes, we're gonna change the zoom. There we go. He's sleepy. Find the fluffy cat. Yes, I'll let you go. Yes, I'll let you go. Tutuy.
Aren't you looking at the camera? He loves to be filmed. Like Connor.
Okay, you can go. Yes. Oh. Fluffy cat. Yes, you're adorable. Yes.
With a little squirrel tail.
Yes, you can go. Go eat. Go play.
Okay. So I will see you guys Sunday. Yeah, he is perfect and adorable. I will see you guys Sunday, and hopefully this week I'll put stuff out. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like. Okay. And hopefully if I manage to do this, then Sunday we'll do other stuff and we'll talk about some new things on the market. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful what's left of Sunday. Bye.